Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Ken Reif, and welcome back to another installment of the 2009 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. We're here from race number 11 of 36 as we complete the mid-season West Coast swing here from Willow Springs. It's the California Dodge Dealers 350 coming your way here from NASCAR on ESPN. Glad to have you with us as always under the California sun here today for our, I believe, first. Yes, it is our first road course of this 2009 campaign as we get set to roll here today for our second straight race in the state of California. Take you to the racetrack for your starting lineup. In today's race is Marcos Ambrose in the number 5, is going to start from the pole here today. It's his second pole of the season, and to his outside on the front row is going to be AJ Allmendinger in the number 83. Couple of road course gurus up at the top of the table here today from Willow Springs. Taking down the rest of the starting lineup in today's race, Juan Pablo Montoya's number 31 is in the third position, a third straight road course ringer up front, and Clint Boyer continues his hot qualifying runs this first third of the season. He's in the fourth position. Kurt Busch in the 01 rounds out the top 5 in P5, and to his outside will be Kevin Harvick's number 20. Jimmy Johnson is in the 7th position with Tony Stewart in 8th. 9th goes to DJ Kennington, your points leader in the 81, and Casey Mears, a nice qualifying run for the 28. He rounds out the top 10. 11th is going to be Brad Keselowski's number 2 with Greg Biffle in the 16. 12th, Todd Cleaver, good qualifying for the 98. He's 13th. Carl Edwards is in the 14th position. 15th, that goes to Justin Allgaier. Matt Kenseth in the 16th position. Second in the standings, Robbie Gordon in the 13, just 5 points off of DJ Kennington entering today. He's 17th. 18th is Shane Meal, his teammate, in row number 9. Jeff Gordon in the 19th position in the 24 with Boris Said. Rounding out your top 20, Rogelio Lopez is in 21st place and JJ Yaley 22nd. Elliott Sadler will be in 23rd. Ryan Newman is in 24th. Casey Kane 25th place and Kyle Busch in 26th. 27th place is Stephen Light with Ricky Hendrick in the 28th position. Colin Brown in the 23. He's 29th. Brad Coleman is in 30th. Scott Riggs from 31st place with Jacques Villeneuve in 32nd. Scott Wimmer is in 33rd, and Jeremy Mayfield's 51 is in 34th. Denny Hamlin from P35 with John Wood in 36th. Reed Sorensen P37 with Ryan Hemphill 38th in the 06. 39th is TJ Bell with 40th going to Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jim McMurray is in the 41st position with Travis Kvapil in 42nd, and David Reagan's number 37 for Brad Daugherty rounds out your field here today. It's a long one here from Willow Springs, 75 laps here in the California Dodge Dealers 350. We're going to take you trackside for the most famous words in motorsports. It's the command here from Willow Springs.
Drivers, start your engines!
Field comes to life as we get set to roll here in California for the second straight race. Race number 11 as we close in on 1/3 of the way into the 2009 campaign. DJ Kennington, your points leader entering today, mentioned that with Robbie Gordon. Second in the standings in the number 13. You take a look down the rest of the top 10 in points entering today. Third place is Jimmy Johnson's 48. Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards make up the top 5. Biffle in 6th, Boyer 7th. Kurt Busch 8th, Jeff Gordon 9th, and the 17 of Matt Kenseth rounds out the top 10. First road course of the season, so this is going to be a little bit of a wild card here for some of these guys who have been itching to get back to road racing. The 5 and the 83, two of the best road course drivers in the Cup Series, are going to lead the field to the green. It's a long one here from Willow Springs. As we mentioned, 75 laps is your length here today. Ambrose, the pole sitter. Allmendinger to his outside for turn 1. Montoya, Clint Boyer, your first 2 rows. Green flag in the air, and we are underway here from Willow Springs. How about this move on the opening lap? Contact between the top two in the second sector in lap number 1, as it is AJ Allmendinger in the 83, second place starter with a great jump out of the gate. And with a little bit of contact between him and the 5 of Ambrose at the top of the table, Allmendinger is through, and the 83 leads on the opening lap as everybody else clean on the start of this race. And we settle in for the long haul as the 83 is your leader. Second goes to Ambrose. Third place is going to be Montoya's number 31. Fourth is Boyer, and Kurt Busch in the 01 with a good start. He is into the 5th position off the start of this race. As the rest of the field settles in on the opening lap, Ambrose trying to chase after this 83 who takes over the lead on lap number 1. Top group single file out as everybody gets settled in. Battle for position between Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick for the 6th position here on the second lap of this race. The 48 trying to go the long way around here in the middle sector after getting up the inside at the top of the hill. He's still side by side with Harvick, trying to have the advantageous line with the second run back downhill into the 3rd sector. Door to door between the 48 and the 20 into the final 2 corners, and Jimmy Johnson will make up another position as he is into 6th off the start. Kevin Harvick under fire now from Tony Stewart. Man, a really close mix between those two for position. Stewart with the run and the slipstream down the front stretch. And the 42 is going to look to take over P7 over Kevin Harvick, who is not off to the greatest of starts in that 20. Meanwhile, Ambrose under fire from Montoya for the 2nd spot here in turn 2. Here comes Montoya up the inside as they race up the hill. Very good run out of the 2nd corner by the 31. And this is that spot of the racetrack. We see a lot of trouble. We'll see if Montoya can get clear of the 5 of Ambrose. He will, and Ambrose is going to cut him slack. So Montoya into the 2nd position off the start of the race. Ambrose from the pole, not off to the start he would have liked. He's down now to 3rd place. As the other 2 road ringers at the top of the table have found their way past the 5 in the opening 3 laps. Allmendinger doing a great job from the pole, and this 83 is starting to pull away from the rest of the field just a little bit. Everybody in the back still clean. It is still Allmendinger, Montoya, Ambrose, Boyer, and Kurt Busch in the top 5, though the order has changed, with the 31 taking over that runner-up position. Battle for 4th starting to brew just a little bit as Kurt Busch is putting the pressure on the 4 of Boyer for the 4th spot here. Doing a very good job of following down the hill. That's something that has been a bit of a struggle for drivers at this racetrack, is being in the wake down the hill. Can be a little bit of a struggle for these guys, but Kurt Busch really kind of nailed the middle sector there. But Boyer also having himself a good run through and is able to put just a little bit of a gap between himself and Kurt Busch. Kennington back there in 9th behind his teammate Harvick, who has stopped the bleeding. He's 8th, and Edwards makes it 3 Gibbs cars in a row, 8th through 10th, backing up the back end of the top 10. Always good to see these familiar faces up at the front of the field here in Willow Springs, our first road course of the season, making its debut in Cup last year, and putting on a pretty fun show between Jeff and Robbie Gordon. And here today, it is a familiar scene. Couple of road course ringers at the top of the table, but not the same ones as last year. Seeing the rookie AJ Allmendinger get his first laps led on pace really at all this season This 83 has had speed and quite a lot of points this campaign, but just has not quite had the luck on his side throughout the 2009 season. Has been one of the most statistically unlucky drivers in the Cup Series this year. And Allmendinger took one look at being able to come back to this racing facility after racing Grand National here last season and said, I'm happy to be back where I belong. This is a racing facility he's familiar with, the kind of racing he's familiar with, and coming back to the States to race over here in the stock cars has been a new experience for him, of course, but has been one of the most impressive young drivers in the Grand National Series the last couple of seasons for Red Bull's Academy team. And now up here in Cup in his rookie season, has struggled just a little bit, but looked at today as an opportunity to kind of get back on the right foot, put a good run together, show some speed. And after qualifying said, I'm even more confident than I was coming in, and now taking over the lead from Ambrose, who has been in Cup quite a few times now, has been around the horn for a few seasons by this point, and Allmendinger able to take the lead away from him on the opening lap. Montoya doing the same for the second position a couple of laps ago, and now Allmendinger looking quite frankly comfortable in the lead for the first 5 laps of this race. He sits easily in front of Montoya, who hasn't really been able to gain a whole lot of time on our leader the last couple of laps. Single file and no battles throughout the field at the moment as Matt Kenseth in the 17 hits pit road early here. A little bit of damage on the back of the 17 car, who looks like he was one of the drivers that was involved in some contact. Looked like it took place on lap number 3. This appears to have been between him and either the 28 or the 2. Let's get a look at this battle. This was for the 12th position between Kenseth and Casey Mears. And looking like it was our typical trouble spot at the top of the hill. Yeah, Kenseth trying to pull the slider just a little bit there and gets ran up by Casey Mears and comes in for damage repair. And the 60 of Boris Said does the same. So a couple of cars who were involved in incidents in this one. Likely a similar story for Boris Said, who was a little further up the table, or no, pardon, further behind the table. He was battling with Allgaier and Ryan Newman from the looks of things for position. This might have been a little bit more contact. Yeah, here with Shane Neal in the 47. He got a little wide and some contact there. Definitely pushed that left rear corner onto the tire. Had to come in to pull it out. So 2 cars making damage repair pit stops early in the going. And both who were running fairly well. Said was inside the top 20 and Kenseth the top 15. 2 of them forced to pit off cycle. Lap number 8 here from Willow Springs. Still an identical top 5 since the opening lap was completed. Battle for position behind is DJ Kennington and Kevin Harvick, the 2 teammates going at it in the final corner. Harvick defending his position in 8th. That opens the door for Edwards in the 19 to go side by side with Kennington for 9th. Our championship leader fighting with one of his fellow Gibbs-Haas entries. Edwards really trying to hang tough with Kennington here, and he's going to do just that. This is the big passing zone on this racetrack in turn 2. And Edwards hugging the curb on the inside, trying to drive away from Kennington, and he's going to be able to do just that. Up a place goes Carl Edwards on the road course here in Willow Springs. On lap number 9, here is Juan Pablo Montoya, who is closer to Allmendinger than he has been pretty much the entire race. There you see, just locking up that left front a little bit down the hill while following the 83. That's going to cost him a lot of time. We saw a lot of that in this racetrack here last season, and that has been the big trouble spot for these guys. That entire second sector is really tricky, and looking like today is no different. Ambrose now closing from the 3rd position. He's put a little bit of time up, catching up to Montoya for the 2nd position. Now it is a 3-horse race for this lead. These 3 are quite a long way in front of Boyer, who's in the 4th spot right now. Just about 2 seconds off of our leader, a second and a half now. Montoya really got squirrely down the hill there. You saw him get sideways before he was even on the brakes. That opens the door for Ambrose to give him a look for the 2nd position down the hill. Not able to make anything happen just yet. It's going to have to be in the big passing zone in turn 2, you would have to think, but Ambrose is thinking about trying to make it happen a little bit early. Here he comes up the inside in the final corner. I haven't seen a lot of this at this racetrack. And what a beautiful move by our pole sitter, Marcos Ambrose, getting the elbows out there in the final corner and comfortably takes over the 2nd position back into P2. Montoya unable to defend from the 5 after that big mistake in the 2nd sector, compounds all the way down to the final corner, and Ambrose is through back into 2nd place. Ten laps completed already here from Willow Springs. Allmendinger's led every lap from 2nd place on the grid so far. Top 5 has remained the same since the finish of lap number 1. Not a surprise, of course, from these road courses. A lot different from that oval environment everybody here is used to. Battle for position down the hill here as Justin Allgaier looks to go past the 13 of Robbie Gordon. This is for 16th. Red Bull bringing some more speed to this race than they really have all season. It's been a bit of a slog, especially for the 84 and the 83, who have DNF'd quite a lot over the course of this season so far. Allgaier and Allmendinger have had a rougher campaign, while Kenseth has been contending for a top 10 in the point standings so far this season. So these two are looking for some get-right races here in Willow Springs, but Robbie Gordon trying to defend from this 84 for the 16th spot. They're side-by-side behind these two. That's Ryan Newman up the inside of Shane Meal, who has gone nowhere but backwards since the start of this race. Look at this defense from Robbie Gordon in a spot that has typically been an automatic pass. Able to hang tough. Allgaier still hanging around on that inside lane, trying to get underneath the 13. Still side by side. These two have been side by side for an entire lap now. Backing everybody up away from the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Robbie Gordon is finally able to defend from that 84 and hold him off for 16th. Now Allgaier's got to try and clear Newman to stay in 17th place. Allgaier will do so on the inside of the final corner. Now Shane Neal is fighting with the 38 still for the 18th position. These two have been deadlocked for a while. It's bringing the 6 of Brad Coleman and the 10 of JJ Yaley into the fight for a couple of the back-end top 20 positions. Meanwhile, up front, Ambrose closing the gap to the 83 of Allmendinger. Question is, can he set him up in the final sector, or is it going to be a mistake here at the bottom of the hill? Not quite able to keep the nose there. That results in Allmendinger pulling back away, gained nearly half a second in just one corner. So we focus back in on the battle behind, and Shane Neal, that time, through the second sector, is able to clear Ryan Newman for the 18th position. Coleman, Yaley, and Lopez still not far behind 20th through 22nd. As the field spreads out a little bit as we slowly close in on our first pit cycle a handful of laps from now. Again, Ambrose kind of turning into this push and pull here. But a better time at the bottom of the valley for the 5 as he gets through there pretty clean. He's just got to try and reel in Allmendinger into the first sector. That's where we've seen all the passes happen. I do think that 5 of Ambrose has the better long-run car. Seemed like he was falling off a little bit on the short run in this race, but has had a much better time after we've gotten a couple of laps on these tires and now 2 seconds or so of tire fall off. That 5 car has kind of come into his own. Question now is, can he stay close enough throughout a full lap and get into turn 2 close enough to make a pass for the lead? Montoya has dropped off quite a long way from the top 2, looking like it was a short run burst of speed for the 31 team, but just could not quite make it a challenge for P1 versus Allmendinger. But again, here comes Ambrose. He's closed the gap up to the top of the hill, but again, he's got to get through the downhill S into the valley to get back and stay there into turn 2. And he locked that left front again, just that little bit of a mistake there, and that's going to allow Allmendinger to pull all that time back for the lead. Right now, I think it's just kind of going to have to be on the strategy. But right now, it is going to be our leaders coming down pit road. The top 2 both are going to pit the earliest out of anybody. Lap number 15, these guys are going to come in. Allmendinger and Ambrose, your top 2 qualifiers, your top 2 in the race. Hit pit road from first and second. Not a lot of pitters from the top 10 on this first cycle. About 8 to 10 total cars bring it down pit road, and Ambrose is going to have to wait for Allmendinger to leave pit road. That was a pretty slow exit for the 5. Kurt Busch has now got on the back bumper of him, and Busch was all the way back in the 5th position, so a really rough pit stop as Ambrose had to wait quite a long time for the 83 leaving the pits there, since they've got those nose-to-tail pit boxes, and that costs him a lot. Now Kurt Busch is fighting him for position on the exit of the pits, not quite able to make anything happen just yet. And there's Boris Said, who is off cycle right now in the 60. Has pulled up right behind Allmendinger for the moment, but the 83 with a lot better tires should be able to run away from this 60 car. Meanwhile, the majority of the field will bring it down pit road on lap 16, including Juan Pablo Montoya, who has become our first leader, not named AJ Allmendinger, in this race with this pit cycle. 16 on to 17, he pits in. Casey Kane is the first car to stay out long. Good pit stop by the 31 and the 4, and of course the 83 with the undercut is going to be able to get by. Takes over the lead, and there you see that 5 of Ambrose really did not have the pit stop that he was looking for, as he drops behind not just Montoya, but also the 4 of Boyer. He's going to try and take advantage of the warmer tires and at least get to P3, and pretty comfortably in turn 2 towards the uphill of 3 and 4. He is going to be able to do so, maybe even close in on Montoya and make a move for net P2. Of course, Boris Said is currently in the second position in the 60. Lap number 18 here from Willow Springs, as Allmendinger leads it. Said second, Montoya, then Ambrose, and now Clint Boyer makes up the last member of the top 5. Matt Kenseth, actually, pardon me, the 17 of Kenseth, who was the other driver who was off cycle from the leaders, is in the lead right now. Him and Boris Said, the 2 members of the top 5 who are off pit cycle at the moment, should come in just a handful of laps from now, as they came in for damage repair pit stops early, and their little adventure gets them into the top 5. So it could be interesting to see how the strategy plays out for the 17 and the 60, who are going to be on that alternate strategy unless a caution flag comes out. We did have a caution flag in the Grand National Series race. So we will see how this goes. Big pack further behind. Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, Stewart, Biffle, and Johnson all battling for position right now, as Edwards is trying to take away a position from Tony Stewart. And the 01 of Kurt Busch just hit pit road, and there's damage on the front of the 01 car. So this is not what you want to see for Kurt Busch, who just had to cut the hood off of it. And there was contact, yeah, between him and Clint Boyer, and that jacked up the front of the 01. Boyer from the top 5 has damage as well. We'll see if he elects to bring it to pit road with the back of his car under distress. Allmendinger with that clean pit stop, a comfortable lead. He's closing on his teammate Kenseth, who is scheduled to come into the pits just a lap or 2 from now. Oh my goodness, here comes Allmendinger in the final corner, not wasting any time. And through the final turn, AJ Allmendinger past the 17. He's through on his teammate, and Allmendinger retakes the lead. Ambrose still tight on the bumper of Montoya for third. Battle for the 9th position continues to rage on behind as Jeff Gordon and Carl Edwards are cutting it real close for this 9th spot. These three, Stewart, Gordon, and Edwards, have all been battling for position for quite a while now. This is bringing Kennington's 81 into the picture. He's in 12th. Edwards able to hold off Stewart in P10. Jeff Gordon up a place to 9th. This is really the kind of run that the 24 needs. Has had a good, not great start to the 2009 season for his championship defensive campaign. He is on the right track, though, here today in Willow Springs. A good race car. Had a good race car back in California last time out, won by Jimmy Johnson in the 48 for another fuel mileage win. Both of Jimmy Johnson's wins this season have come on fuel mileage. And for the winningest driver in the Cup Series since his debut. Oh, a little bit of contact there with Greg Biffle in the 16. Getting impatient with the 48. Nearly turned him around. But it turns into a position gained for Johnson as he goes up the inside of Boris Said in the 60 for the 6th spot. Now Biffle and Jeff Gordon are side by side behind the 48. Stewart up the inside of Edwards. Kennington trying to follow his teammate. Look at this pack for the 6th spot, or rather the 7th position now downhill as Montoya lost a couple of positions. I believe stuck behind the 17 of Kenseth. I'd like to get a look back and see what happened here as Montoya ends up on the back foot. And yeah, he got stuck behind Kenseth. And Ambrose and Boyer went up the inside of the 31, so not the spot that he wanted to be in. He loses a couple of spots. Biffle goes past Boris Said. And Said is going to try to pit in here. Really rough spot for him to be in. That checks up Tony Stewart. Kenseth going around another time. Comfortable lead. 3 seconds for AJ Allmendinger in the 83, who is easily in control of this race right now. Does not have even a thought of another driver in the same hemisphere right now. Marcos Ambrose, who just got through on Montoya for second, is in kind of a world of his own back there with Boyer and the aforementioned 31. Allmendinger is way out front right now. Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson side by side as the 17 brings it down pit road to promote the 48 into the top 5. Greg Biffle now into 6th, Gordon 7th, 8th is Stewart, 9th is Carl Edwards, and DJ Kennington occupies the last spot in the top 10. As we continue here from Willow Springs, approaching 1/3 of the way through here in the California Dodge Dealers 350. Just a dominant performance for AJ Allmendinger right now. led every lap. Aside from the pit cycles so far in this race, from the second starting spot, had that great jump out of the gate. Was able to get by Ambrose in the 5. And though it hasn't been without a challenge, that 5 of Ambrose has had the car to hang with that 83 when he's been there, but that first pit cycle really went wrong for Ambrose. Had to hold on pit exit as Allmendinger won the race off of the pits. So 1/3 of the way through next time by. It is a comfortable lead, not just for Allmendinger, but for the rest of the top 4 over Jimmy Johnson, who is an additional 3 to 4 seconds behind the rest of the top 5 right now. And it is not much a contest for the 83 car right now. First battle for position on the track. Not really anybody side by side at the moment. No, never mind. Contact as the 0-2. Ricky Hendrick just in time as we took a look through the rest of the field. John Wood and Ricky Hendrick off the racetrack. Take a look back at the collision here between the 0-2, the 21, and a couple of others, as it was out and down the hill towards the valley here. Contact between Hendrick and John Wood. This was for, I believe, 29th or so. Yeah, got the bumper of the 21 who came back across, took Ricky over the hill, and no chance for these two to get slowed down. And the unlucky man is Scott Wimmer, who got a piece of it. Hendrick goes for a spin. And we are under caution for the first time today. Exactly 1/3 of the way into the race comes the first caution period here in Willow Springs. AJ Allmendinger leads the field at this first caution flag. Every lap so far here from Willow Springs under non-pit cycle conditions has been led by the 83. Although, of course, the 17 of Kenseth had quite a few laps led, and that's a really rough break for the 17 and the 60, who, if the caution had came out at the right period, would have been in the top 5, but instead end up in the last 2 spots on track as a result of the timing of the caution. And as a result, are going to have a tall order to gain any positions and salvage this race for themselves. Allmendinger, Ambrose, Boyer, Montoya, Johnson, your top 5. Best lap of the race so far is by the 99 of Rogelio Lopez, back in the 18th position. So Field is going to bring it down pit road here on lap number 26. Allmendinger will lead everybody down the pit lane as it's the big stack up coming in that we are familiar with at this racetrack. Field trying to keep it together behind, seeing a couple of collisions. Ooh, and somebody is having engine problems. That's the 51. Jeremy Mayfield has an engine issue. Hey, look at this. Staying out here, actually. So I thought maybe it was going to be a little bit of different strategy here, but it's going to be even more different than I would have anticipated. Kenseth and Boris Said are going to stay on the racetrack here. And Ambrose, bad luck, leaving pit road. He got held pretty hard as a result of traffic. Allmendinger wins the race out of the pits. Jimmy Johnson is promoted all the way into the second spot. Off of pit lane. We will go green this time, so no intermission will be necessary. Kenseth, Boris Said, Allmendinger, Johnson, and now, I believe that is, and then Montoya are your top 5 on the restart. So Matt Kenseth, who has been on the alternate strategy, so this is going to be an interesting game here. The 17 and the 60 on the older tires, staying out, trying to take advantage of this alternative strategy here. These two think they can make it work. Let's see how it plays out for them on the restart. Lap number 28 when we go green. Here comes Kenseth out of the final corner to lead the field to the restart. Pace car peels in this time. Short cautions at this facility. Pace car's off. And no, Kenseth and Said are going to pit in coming to the green. Allmendinger will lead the field to the green flag. What in the world is this call from the 17 and the 60? They bring it down pit road. The green flag is in the air, and Allmendinger is in the lead. We are underway. Johnson with a good start. He takes it to the left-hand side. Allmendinger way wide. Can he fight back in turn 2? He's going to dive it back down to the inside. Biffle trying to follow him in the 16. Jeff Gordon's come out of nowhere off the restart. Allmendinger trying to clear Johnson 2 by 2 as they head through the first sector on the restart. Allmendinger trying to run away, can't quite do it. Johnson fighting back, but Allmendinger down the hill towards the valley. He's clear of the 48 for the moment. Here comes Biffle around the outside. Jeff Gordon versus Montoya further behind. Can the 16 take over from the 48 for second? Looking like Johnson is going to clear him, and he will. But Biffle going to try to fight back into the final corner. Can he get there? He's going to go for it. Johnson forced to yield the inside. Biffle, a nice move. Meanwhile, that's going to allow Allmendinger to pull away from the lead side by side for second. Montoya into the fray. He's going to pull up to the back of these two. Biffle's just got to keep it on the right side of the racetrack here into turn 2, and he will. Montoya will follow through. Johnson's going to end up part of a freight train. Montoya on the right. Johnson trying to fight back. He gets into the back of him. Little bit of contact. Here comes Jeff Gordon on the right side as Johnson pushes Montoya wide and his teammate gets through. Beautiful corner by the 24. Jeff Gordon is into third. Johnson back down to fifth. Montoya into fourth place. Carl Edwards with a great restart. He's into sixth. Ambrose has fallen all the way back down to seventh. Boyer's eighth. Robbie Gordon has jumped forward to ninth. And Tony Stewart rounds out the top 10. So now Greg Biffle in the 16, who won back at Portland, was his last road course win. He has found himself in the second position. But a long mountain to climb with the dominant car Allmendinger out in the lead. Ambrose fighting with the 19, the 4, the 13. A lot of good cars in this pack here. Back for sixth. The 36 of Reed Sorensen with a lot of damage on the front of his car. He was forced to hit pit road. Oh, car off the racetrack. Elliott Sadler. Very big hit for the 8 as he got spun off of the bumper of Casey Kane. And the 49 was into the outside wall as well. That's going to result in another caution flag. Colin Brown was off the track as well. So second caution of the race in quick succession. Big hit for the 8 of Elliott Sadler, who's trying to get it back to pit lane. Saw the contact further up the road. I believe that was Travis Quapple. Yes, him and Colin Brown got into each other at the top of the hill. Pretty big hit to the outside wall for the 49 and 23 sliding through the dirt. But yeah, that was Elliott Sadler who took the big hard hit to the outside wall and came to a stop. Caution number 2. Just about 5 laps after the first. Let's see if the field elects to pit after such a short run. And this could prove beneficial for Boris Said and Matt Kenseth if they do. As the 17 and 60, I would assume, would stay out following their interesting pit call there to follow the pace car down pit road and get tires and fuel on the restart. So if the field does elect to come down pit road under this yellow flag, they would likely stay out. Let's see what the call is for the leaders as Allmendinger leads Biffle, Jeff Gordon, Montoya, and Jimmy Johnson, the top 5 down pit road. And it is going to be the field coming down pit road on lap number 31. Tony Stewart will be the first to stay out. Brad Coleman does the same. Interesting call here. A lot of the field deciding to stay out. And more interestingly is that Kenseth and Boris said the two cars on more fuel and tires decided to stay with the rest of the field and bring it down pit road. It will be tires and fuel for some, fuel only for others. Carl Edwards in the 19 is going to win the race off of pit road. Contact entering pit lane. Marcos Ambrose gets out of the pits clean. Not a lot of cars took 4 tires there. Allmendinger was one of the only ones to do it, so the 83 loses quite a lot of positions on pit road. He was one of the last cars off of the pit lane. That is not what you want to see from your dominant race car. And a big shakeup of the running order means Tony Stewart in the 42 has taken over the lead. As we'll be coming to the restart this time by, Stewart leads it. Coleman is in second. Third is Junior. David Reagan all the way up to fourth. And TJ Bell is in fifth. A lot of cars elected to stay out. Even more shuffling around on the order under the caution flag period. Kevin Harvick with a lot of damage. It was a collision with, I believe, Kurt Busch on pit road that gave him a lot of that damage on the left side. Would not be surprised to see him come down pit lane again. Allmendinger is in the bottom 6 positions, thanks to being, I believe, the only car to take 4 tires on that stop. A lot of them took 2, plenty took none. The first few off of pit road did not take tires. I believe something like Jeff Gordon in the 24 is the first car that decided to take any tires on the pit lane. Yeah, it was right sides only for the 24. Again, Allmendinger, the only car on no tires, or on 4 tires, pardon. Johnson in the 48 took no tires, but he got held leaving the pits, lost a lot of time. Edwards gained a couple positions. He was the first one off, and he'll start just around the back end of the top 10. Tony Stewart, first car who stayed out, will lead the field to the green flag. Lap number 33 when we go green this time. Pace car to peel in. TJ Bell, Rogelio Lopez, handful of cars do peel into the pits to do the same thing that the 17 and the 60 did on the last stop. But Tony Stewart, the leader, does not. Lap number 33, green flag is in the air, and we are back underway. Good start for Edwards. He gets underneath of Riggs. Jeff Gordon ends up on the back foot. He's side by side with Montoya for position as they head towards the hill. Edwards on the other end of the racetrack versus the 57 of Riggs, who tries to fend him off. Oh, contact! Montoya off the road! Way into the dirt goes the 31 off the bumper of Jimmy Johnson. And he's going to have to get all the way back onto the racetrack at the very end of the queue. No. A lot of contact further up the road. That is Wimmer off the racetrack, 3 wide in the midfield. Get a look back here at the contact. It was between Montoya and Jimmy Johnson. The 48 got into the back of the 31. Right there. The checkup from the 31, and Johnson couldn't hang off of him. These two had made contact earlier. And tempers flare here in Willow Springs. Johnson into 8th place behind his teammate Jeff Gordon, who's 7th. Edwards is up the back bumper of the 57 of Riggs for the 5th position. Riggs getting defensive. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon gets underneath of the 19. 24, first car on any tires in this field. This race has suddenly got pretty interesting. Robbie Gordon picking up spots. Ooh, contact between him and Harvick as the 20 with that damage starts to fall backwards. Ambrose trying to make spots back up. He's into 10th past the 20. Kennington trying to pass his teammate here. What can Jeff Gordon do on fresh tires against the rest of this top 5? Stewart has ran away in the lead. It's the 42, the 6, the 88, the 37, the 57, who all elected to stay out on that last restart. Edwards under fire from Jimmy Johnson and Robbie Gordon. Battle for position in front of the 24. Riggs side by side with David Reagan for 4th. Beautiful defense by the 37. Carl Edwards is up the inside of Jimmy Johnson for 6th. Or rather for P7, as Johnson tried to make a move on the front stretch. That allows Robbie Gordon to try and fight his way through. The 24 gets past the 57 of Riggs. Here you're seeing these cars that have been pretty good in this race having a better time passing the drivers who stayed out from the back half of the field. 40 to go at the line. Here comes Jeff Gordon past Reagan for P4. And I would say that 24 is probably in the best spot out of anybody in this field right now, as he's now put 2 cars between himself and the next closest, who hit pit road on that last cycle, which is the 19 of Carl Edwards. And Carl is not on fresh tires. It was fuel only for the 19. I believe the 13 of Robbie Gordon is on 2 tires, and he's going to get under Edwards for position. Robbie Gordon through the 57 and the 37. Jeff Gordon in the 24 putting the pressure now on Dale Jr. for 3rd. Lot of pace out of this 24 right now. Trying to work through traffic in a hurry. He knows he's got Robbie Gordon not far behind. He'll be patient with Dale Jr. Maybe just a little bit too patient there, as Jr. was able to get down to the inside of turn 2 pretty comfortably and hold the 24 off through the best passing zone on the track. That's allowing Robbie Gordon to close in for what could be the net race lead. Ambrose into 5, making up positions off the restart on his tires. He's a spot behind Carl Edwards in 9th now is the 5. Robbie Gordon closing in. 24 versus 13. Jeff Gordon's got to get a move on here. Maybe just a nudge to the back of Dale Jr. there, but again, into turn 2, he ends up pushing wide, following him. That's going to allow Robbie Gordon up the inside. These are the two fastest cars on the track right now, in the best positions at least. And Robbie Gordon is going to go past the 24. Easy move by Robbie Gordon, and he gets it done. Oh, but very, very wide down in the valley. That allows Jeff Gordon back to his back bumper. He tries to take it around the outside, but the 13's able to cover him off. These guys are having a lot of trouble. This is another time we've seen... Oh, look at Jeff Gordon up the inside. What a crossover move by the 24 towards the final couple corners. And in the final turn, he makes it stick. Jeff Gordon, beautiful piece of defense. He holds off Robbie Gordon for fourth. What I was going to say is that this is the second time in 3 races we've seen the 88 give a lot faster cars a lot of trouble. Saw it back in Vegas 2 weeks ago. Robbie not giving up on the 24. Look at this battle between these two. It's the Gordon and Gordon show for the 4th spot. Robbie Gordon going to get aggressive and slot in any contact. Jeff Gordon's off the road. Robbie Gordon doors the 24 at the top of the hill, and he is through into the 4th spot. Wow. Battle for position behind. Carl Edwards up in front of Ambrose and Johnson, the 48, fighting with his teammate. Ambrose just able to clear the 48 on the outside into the final corner. Robbie Gordon has ran away from the 24 just a little bit. Thanks to that contact, he's gotten a little bit of time versus the 24. I'm sure Jeff Gordon's not happy with that. Robbie tried to throw the block, but the 24 drove it in on the outside. Robbie on the back bumper of the 88. He's going to go for it. Down the hill, unconventional spot to try and make a pass, but he's going to do it into the valley. That's going to cost him a lot of time to get this move done, as he tries to take care of it in one of the more technical spots on the track. 24 of Jeff Gordon will close in. Dale Jr. really trying to drive around the outside, but he's not going to be able to hold it there. Robbie's past him. 24 of Jeff Gordon will do the same. Really timely move by Jeff to get through at the same time that Robbie did. Big battle for position behind. Johnson, Edwards, and Marcos Ambrose. 3 cars under a blanket, plus Kennington and Mears for the 8th spot right now. Edwards able to fend these guys off for 8th. Johnson moves past Ambrose for 9th. Mears past Kennington. 13 and 24 have got their work cut out for him. All the while, Tony Stewart has been leading this race by a country mile and pulling away from Brad Coleman as he approaches his pit window. But now the 13 and the 24 have that open air, are going to be able to try and take advantage of their fresher tires. things have not gone the way that AJ Allmendinger was hoping when he took 4 tires and fuel on that last stop. He's only gotten to 27th position, I believe. No, 28th. Just behind his teammate Justin Allgaier on the rubber and fuel. And just has not had an easy time back here. And there you see Matt Kenseth, his teammate, working past him. These are all the Red Bull cars, 27th through 29th. Long way back in the order. Robbie Gordon, the winner last time at this racing facility, is into the 3rd position, best of the cars who hit pit road under our first caution, or our second, caution flag of the race. Still got 2 Fords, Coleman and Stewart in front, who are on the alternative strategy. And here comes the pit stop on lap number 42. Tony Stewart hits pit lane. Brad Coleman in the 6 stays out another time, moves past Tony Stewart, will lead his first lap of the race. All the while, Robbie Gordon and Jeff Gordon inch ever closer to 1st and 2nd place, the spots they were in at this racetrack last season in 2008. Ambrose has won out for now of the battle between the 3 Chevrolets for what could be net P3. He's had himself a great race today, despite not leading a lap from the pole. Has been competitive all day long. He's going to go underneath the Riggs, trying to get a spot in the top 5. And a well-placed move for Ambrose, as he should clear Riggs before the 19 and the 48 can follow him. A very nice move, and he is into P5. Coleman leading the field comfortably right now, but as he heads into the final corner and through the final corner, alternative strategy for the 6, he'll hit pit road. And for the first time today, Robbie Gordon in the 13, last year's winner of this race, takes over P1. Second is Jeff Gordon now. Dale Jr., Riggs, and Reagan, the last few of the cars who stayed out on that last cycle, they come into pit road. That promotes Ambrose to 3rd. 4th is Jimmy Johnson, and 5th is Carl Edwards. It is a long way to the top of the table for the 5, who would need another caution. He is about 6.5 seconds off of our leaders. Denny Hamlin, one of the Hendrick cars, just left the pit lane right in front of the 24 and the 13. Jeff Gordon probably liking to see a teammate out the window right now. Still a long way left to go here in this one. 31 to go at the line for our leaders, who are probably not far off of a pit stop themselves. That's going to be the most interesting part of this, is how the cycle works out for Stewart versus these two, as well as Coleman in the 6, who are going to be making up time on their fresh tires right now. Stewart trapped in just a little bit of traffic right now. He's got the 36 of Sorensen and the 21 of John Wood up in front of him. Oh, contact as John Wood almost cut in front of Stewart. 42 gets past. So Stewart trying to take advantage of the undercut. Meanwhile, the 13 and the 24 closing in on 30 to go. And also the big thing is I'm not sure the 24 and the 13 might be free of an extra pit stop that the 42 and company are going to have to make at the end of this race. We will see. The first couple cars hitting pit road, Johnson came in early after just 13 laps since their last pit stop. We saw these guys go as long as 16 on the last run, so a pretty short pit window for those guys. Coming to 30 to go, Robbie Gordon staying out, Jeff Gordon staying out. Looks like it was mostly the cars who hadn't taken tires on that last pit cycle that all decided to come in there, that kind of needed to come in there because their rubber was running out. Edwards and Johnson were the two main cars that hit the pit lane. And they lost a lot of time to the guys who made the undercut, but they've got the fresh tires now. Race leaders staying out. Robbie Gordon, Jeff Gordon, the top two. The 13 is scampered away from the 24 just a little bit with 30 to go. These two are set up perfectly to make just one more pit stop in this race, right around 15 to go. I like where they're running at the moment. Comfortable lead for these two. Ambrose on 2 tires on that last stop as well. In third still about 7 seconds off the leaders, but Robbie Gordon and Jeff Gordon, the top two, are going to hit the pits on lap number 46, coming to 29 to go. Ambrose will do the same. Let's see if anybody stays out. Mears is going to be the one to go long. And with the pit box positions of the 24 and the 13, he leads his first lap of the race. Boyer goes deep as well. Allmendinger, unsurprisingly, on 4 tires. The only one on 4 tires on this run will go deep. 4 tires in fuel for the 24 and the 13. Comfortably off the pits. Very nice stop by the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Not the kind of stop that the 13 was looking for. Almost a full second longer. There goes the traffic. 24 has to contend with the 57 and the 38. He should get past him and will. Very nearly a disaster as he would have had traffic of Newman and Riggs. Ambrose leaves pit road behind the 48 and the 19 with their undercut. But that's the kind of pit stop these guys were looking for. Jeff Gordon has a little bit of extra traffic to deal with. He's got the 36 who's going defensive on him. I doubt Jeff Gordon's going to be appreciative of that, as the 36 is one of these damaged cars. Robbie's hung up behind the 88 of Dale Jr. And the 24, he's going to get passed here by Riggs in the 57. Gordon trying to go around the outside of the 36. They're nearly 3 wide. They are 3 wide into the final corner. Splitting the 36 3 wide. What a move by the 24 and the 57 as the 38 and the 36 both hit pit road that time. And now as everything cycles back out, Jeff Gordon has lost a lot of time to Robbie, but he's still got to get by the 88 of Dale Jr. And still the 6 and the 42 a long way up the road. Riggs blocking the inside against the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Dale Jr. doing a similar move to Robbie. Again, I think all these guys are going to have to make an extra stop in this race. Which means that it is going to be between the 13 and the 24 for the win. Ooh, nearly contact. Robbie Gordon trying to go up the inside of Dale Jr. in the final corner. And he'll beat him under braking into turn 1. 13 gets past the 88. 24 is still hung up on the 57. Trying to go the long way round in turn 2. Really unorthodox and did not work for that 24. 13 is still running away from Jeff Gordon. And these guys right now, who are still on the racetrack, the 42, the 6, the 88, are all definitely hoping for a caution period to put these guys all in the same strategy. Denny Hamlin in the pits. '24 Jeff Gordon still cannot get around Riggs for 5th. He's going to try to go up the inside in turn 1. If he can clear him before turn 2, this will be the move he needs, and he does. Nice move by the 24 Jeff Gordon to get rid of Riggs in a hurry. But the 57 isn't yielding just yet. He's going to take it to the inside in turn 2. Jeff Gordon with the much better tires holds him off, and into P5 goes the 24. Ambrose really on the back foot on the short run here. He falls behind Kennington. Robbie Gordon, though, versus the 81, is looking in prime position to take over the points lead after today. And matter of fact, just ran his best lap of the race. That last time it was a 16.772. Best lap today is still held by the 99. It is a 16.750. .25 to go. And another better time by Robbie Gordon. There was the fastest time of the race for the 13, a 16.675, who is on a mission. He doesn't want it to come down to strategy. He'd like to beat the 42 and the 6 on speed alone. He's got a long way up to him, over 6 seconds. But he is not giving up. Battle for the lead could be brewing. This is the closest that Coleman has been to the 42 of Tony Stewart in quite a while. Gordon closing a considerable amount on our leaders. But got a long way left to go, but he has made up about a second per lap so far on the top 2. Again, I do believe that it is a 2-stop remaining strategy for the 6 and the 42, which means that Robbie Gordon is in position to win this race right now. But one caution could change everything. Does Stewart have the chance to maybe challenge for this win? It is all going to depend on what the fuel strategy, what the tire strategy, and what these cautions or no cautions shape out to look like in this one here at Willow Springs. Even so, Robbie Gordon is catching these two at a big, big rate. And Coleman is also putting the pressure on Tony for the lead. Gordon has it down to nearly 4 seconds. Coleman has closed the gap for the race lead. 42 versus 6. Does he have the speed to make a move for P1? This is the closest it's been for the lead in quite a while on track. Problems for the 31. Montoya, but he is going to make it to pit road. That is a lucky, lucky break. And Jimmy Johnson is on pit road. Damage to the front of the 48. We stay green. As Jimmy Johnson got into the back of Riggs, and he has to take the hood off of his race car. So the 48 taken out of it. Stewart and Coleman were probably hoping that the 31 ended up on the wrong end of the racetrack and had to come to a stop, because that tire came apart in a big, big hurry, and that would have brought out our third caution of the race. But Montoya able to get it to the pits. And with 21 to go, the 42 and the 6 have to shoulder on. Don't look now. Robbie Gordon is within 3 seconds of the leaders now. If these two can get to maybe 17 to go, they could have a chance of making it to the end. The problem is I don't think that that's going to quite happen. So if they're going to get a caution, it would have to happen pretty much right now. $20 to go at the line. Robbie Gordon a country mile in front of the 24 of Jeff Gordon. $20 laps to go in the California Dodge Dealers 350. Stewart leading, Coleman second, Robbie Gordon third, Jeff Gordon fourth, Dale Jr. under fire from Carl Edwards in the 19, and Ambrose in the 5. This is for a top 5 spot. And Edwards, who has had a great race all night long, he has moved into the 5th position in the number 19. Robbie Gordon has caught the top 2 before they have even hit the pits. Coleman's probably got a better chance of getting to this end of this race on one more pit stop than Stewart, as he came in later 1 lap later than the 42 did. And these two have made it to 19 to go. It is not impossible for these two to make it to the end. The problem is that Robbie Gordon has already caught them before they have even hit the pits. It is hard to get around people on these road courses, though, so I would not be surprised if it takes the 13 a little bit of time to get past Coleman, who has dropped off of Stewart, so he's going to have to work over the 6 before he gets to the 42. Ooh, maybe a little bit of a bumper there from the 13. Gordon all over the back of Coleman. Another nudge as they head over the top of the hill. Robbie Gordon up the back bumper of the 6. 18 to go at the line. Getting to the point where these guys could maybe make it. It's going to be close. And Stewart is going to hit pit road probably too early to get to the end of the race. Coleman takes over. $18 to go. Robbie Gordon still hounding the back bumper of the 6. Yeah, 15-lap run there for Tony Stewart, so he's about 3 laps short, maybe 2, given that these guys, plenty of them have gone 16 laps. But it was a 15-lap run for the 42, so I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out to be another 16 and Coleman pits 2 after, which would be enough to get to the end of the race. And he is doing a treat holding up Robbie Gordon right now for the lead, which is allowing both Jeff Gordon to make up some time again on the 13 and also for the 6 to maybe have a shouting chance at the end of it. But the question is, if he makes it around one more time here, I think he could get to the end of the race, but he has to stay out one more time. Is he going to do it? He does. Coleman stays out another time, so when he pits this next time by, I think he will just have enough fuel to get to the end of this race. And suddenly the race is on as Robbie Gordon has still not been able to get by him for the lead. And Coleman now really needs to hold this 13 off. But here comes Robbie Gordon up the inside in turn 2. Can he make it clean? Round the outside in turn 3. Up the hill through 4. And he's got it made. Robbie Gordon back into the lead. But Coleman has made it into a race. He will hit pit road, taking 16 to go, completing 16 laps on this run. Robbie's got a little bit of a ways left to go until he hits the pits. And the final run will be a little bit shorter for the 13, so he won't have as much time to make up all that gap. He has made up a lot of time, but Coleman will be on fresh tires with the undercut here. We're seeing that big 3-second tire fall off. And Coleman, after losing the lead, on lap number 59, he's in. He should make it to the end with that one last pit stop. Robbie Gordon takes over the lead with 16 to go. Jeff Gordon to P2. Third is now Ambrose as Carl Edwards comes in. Kennington in as well. And even if he doesn't win the race, what a job by Coleman to make it that long on the fuel. And will, at the very least, as long as he makes it on the final run, come home with a top 5 finish. Robbie Gordon with the lead. 15 to go at the line. The final pit stop looming for our top 5. 15 to go this time as Robbie Gordon leads it coming out of the final corner. And he doesn't want to be outdone on the undercut. He brings it in just a lap after the 6. So not a lot of a tire advantage. Of course, Robbie is clearly the fastest car on this track. Jeff Gordon in the 24 takes over in the lead. Just a 14-lap run for the 13, so a really short cycle as Robbie Gordon is looking to try and match the 6 of Coleman, be on his strategy, play his game. He will definitely make it on fuel as he leaves his pit box. Where is the 6? That is the question. Here comes Coleman into the first corner. Robbie Gordon out of the pits in front of the 6. Can Coleman get him back? He's got the warm tires, but I think Robbie might have just outdone him. Jeff Gordon, the 24, with 15 coming to 14 to go. Should be set to pit road, and he will. Ambrose this time brings it in from what should be a net top 5 position for the 5. Although the 19 of Edwards, of course, with that big undercut. Six of Coleman is on the back bumper of Robbie Gordon for the lead with the 77 of TJ Bell playing spoiler. Couple of cars up in front that have yet to pit. There's Jeff Gordon leaving pit road, out of the picture. Don't look now, though, but Coleman has suddenly made it a race versus the 13. Inside, 15 to go. And worth mentioning that Tony Stewart is still in front of both the 13 and the 6. He does have to pit one more time. But Stewart should have the net lead right now. Rest of the field slowly trickling onto pit road. Kenseth and Stewart still on the track. Robbie pulling away from Coleman, and if this race goes green, I would not be surprised if that was all she wrote. That 13 is bad fast today. "13 laps left, coming to 12 to go, as Stewart dispatches of the 21 of John Wood. I believe the 48 of Johnson just retired from the race. Yes, he did. And he was having engine trouble. That is going to be a caution flag. Yellow flag is in the air inside 13 to go. We are under caution. Johnson with an engine problem. Third caution of the race, and that changes everything. And suddenly things are flipped on its head. Question is, does Stewart stay out, try and save some fuel under this caution flag? It'll be, I believe, 10 to go when we go green. Jeff Gordon in the 24, who was on a lap fresher tires in the 13, is now in the mix. Things just got a little interesting. Here comes the question of if either of these top two pit. Kenseth was a lot earlier than Stewart, so I would imagine the 17 would bring it down pit road. Does Tony Stewart pit? He will. Kenseth does as well, so Robbie Gordon into the lead. We're going to take you to a quick intermission. It's NASCAR on ESPN. It is the Dodge Save Mart, or the California Dodge Series 350 here from Willow Springs as Robbie Gordon takes over the lead. It's NASCAR on ESPN. We'll be right back. Back from intermission as we get set to go green with 10 laps to go here from Willow Springs. Robbie Gordon in the 13 will be your leader on what could very well be the final restart here. The question now becomes, can Brad Coleman take over? And does he have what it takes to dethrone the 13? Does Jeff Gordon have speed on the fresher tires? We've seen the restart chaos at this racetrack. It is more chaotic on the restarts here than anywhere else in the Cup Series. So does the 6 have a magic trick in the hat coming out of the final corner on the restart? Pace car peeling in on the right this time with 10 laps to go for Robbie Gordon in the lead. The long run down to the box just prior to the start-finish line. Here we come. Robbie Gordon, Coleman, Jeff Gordon, Edwards, and Dale Jr., the top 5. Green flag waves. It's a good start for the 6. Taking a look to the left side. Jeff Gordon right behind him. He'll play it patient. Out of turn 1, into 2. Does the 6 get underneath the 13? Can the 24 get past the 6? Everybody holds steadfast. Further behind, battling for position, 3 wide for a moment. Ambrose trying to slip past all of them. He does. What a restart for the 5. Pandemonium behind. Robbie Gordon, what a first lap. Already has put nearly a second on the 6 of Coleman for the lead. Battling for position behind. Dale Jr. dropping backwards on the restart versus the cars with the fresher tires. Biffle side by side with him down the front stretch. Stephen Light trying to put together a recovery drive. After a rough last couple of races, McMurray with a great drive today. He's into the top 10. How about Jacques Villeneuve in the 00? His first start for Gibbs as one of the fill-in drivers after Jason Leffler's release this season. Contact! Riggs sideways, saves it! Off of the bumper of Wimmer in the 04. Robbie Gordon running away. Battling still in the top 15 and 20. Stephen Light trying to get past Dale Jr. now. And he will. Side by side between Edwards and Kennington as the 19 fending off his teammate for a top 5. Coleman watching the 13 get smaller out of his windshield. Marcos Ambrose has caught his teammate Jeff Gordon for 3rd. He's going to go to the inside towards turn 1. Side by side between the two Hendrick Road Ringers. Jeff Gordon able to hold the 5 off despite his monster run. Robbie Gordon clear by a mile. It would take worst case scenario for the 13 to lose this race. He's put nearly 2 seconds on Coleman in second. Here comes Jeff Gordon on the inside of the 6 for P2. He's had enough of waiting. He's through. Ambrose trying to follow his teammate. Gordon to give him draft down the front stretch. 7 laps remain. It's Robbie Gordon's late race to lose. Jeff Gordon praying for a caution to get him back to the 13 now that he's past the 6. Ambrose does the same. Don't look now, but I do think that 24 and the 5 are both closing on our leader. If only by a small margin. 6 laps is a pretty long time around this track. And Ambrose is even faster than his teammate. Ambrose was nearly more than half a second better than both of the top 2 that last time by. If he were to get by the 24, he might have a chance, but that was not the line he wanted through turn 2. Through 3 into 4. Then 5 downhill into 6. Jeff Gordon closing the gap. The 24 is finding his way up, back up here. It'll be 5 to go this time, but the 24, he was the bridesmaid at this racetrack last year to this 13. It was the 31 Robbie Gordon was in last year, but this thing ain't over just yet. Five to go, and the top 3 are all closing in each other and all running in opposite order of pace. '24's got the better tires, the 5 maybe even better than that. But it's all up to driver skill at this point. Can Jeff Gordon get there? Can Ambrose make a move on his teammate and can he be the one to challenge? Ambrose hadn't led a single lap today, even though he was the pole sitter in this race. Another couple tenths for the 24 and the 5. What a corner through turn 6 by Jeff Gordon. He's closing the gap. Not the exit to the final turn that the 24 really wanted. Robbie scampers away a little bit, but he gains some more time, as did the 5. 4 laps to go. Can either of them make something happen? Again, the 24 better through turn 2. Catching is one thing, passing is another. We've seen Ambrose hounding the back of the 24, but not able to make a move. But a great run up the hill by Jeff Gordon, and all 3 of the top 3 are now bumper to bumper. No lockup by the 24 in turn 6. He's closing the gap. A little mistake from Ambrose. 3 laps to go this time for the 24 and the 13. Can he make it happen? The 13 a little wide coming out of the final corner. Here comes Jeff Gordon with 3 to go. Robbie better in 1. Jeff trying to find the nose on the bottom in turn 2. The 13 shuts the door. If only for a moment. Ambrose in the catbird seat. Another good turn 6 by Jeff Gordon. Though Robbie had an even better one. The 24's got the toe down the backstretch, but the 13 with a great run down the hill, trying to scamper away and hide. 2 to go at the line. Another good run out of the final corner by the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Here they come to the stripe. 2 laps to go. All he has to do is set him up for turn 2, but again, Robbie a little bit closer to the apex through 1. '24 goes a little wide in 3. Ambrose up to the back bumper of his teammate. Couldn't make the move. Again, the 5 pushes wide in 6. That allows Jeff just a little bit of breathing room. He's got one more lap to do it. Can he make it happen? It's the Gordon and Gordon show at the top of the table on the last lap here in Willow Springs. Here they come through the final corner. Jeff Gordon closer than he has been all day long. White flag is in the air. One more time around. Can the 24 make anything happen? Into turn 1. Robbie blocks him down to the bottom. Jeff Gordon up the back bumper. This is the closest he's been. Can he make it happen in turn 2? Robbie a little wide. Here comes the 24 of Jeff Gordon up the inside. Side by side in turn 2 on the last lap. He got the move done. 24 to the lead with half a lap to go. All he's got to do is drive away. Robbie Gordon into second place. Can he run him back down? Half a lap left. '24 a little better. Trying to scamper away. It's the home state kid, Jeff Gordon, the 24, your 2008 defending Cup champion. The drought no longer. This time in the final corner, career win number 80 for Jeff Gordon comes at Willow Springs with a last lap pass. What a win at Willow Springs for Jeff Gordon. Unbelievable. Jeff Gordon gets it done. And Robbie Gordon dominates at the end, but it isn't quite enough. And Jeff Gordon, with the last lap pass, has 80 Cup wins to his name with this one at Willow Springs. Unbelievable. And get you a look at the last lap pass that got it done for the 24. What a move on the last lap for the 24 of Jeff Gordon, and he gets it done in his home state here in Willow Springs. Unbelievable end to that race. I can hardly believe it. Three Chevys dueling it out at the end here today. And only one of them can win it, and it is the 24, Jeff Gordon. Last season's champion brings it to victory lane for the 80th time in his Cup career. What a race, what a victory, as Jeff Gordon leads the last lap and a couple of others in pit cycles, but he gets it done on the final lap here in Willow Springs. That'll do it for coverage of the California Dodge Dealers 350. Next time out, it'll be the All-Star Weekend, and after that, our next points race is the Coca-Cola 600 to conclude the first third of the season. I've been your host, Caden Reif. It's been a pleasure to have you along, as always, here on NASCAR on ESPN, and we'll see you next time. And have yourself a good one.